Have you ever wondered why going through the grieving process is so important with a chronic illness? And why it's so important to understand that grieving process? This is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Pfingst and I empower women to take back control after living with a chronic illness so that you can say goodbye to that nothing is ever going to change for absolute good. If you find this helpful today, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you think. Today, I want you to know that you can live a life that you do love, even with chronic illness. And one of the first steps that you need to go through is the grieving process and to understand what that grieving process is. So let's just dive straight in. Stage 1 is denial. I want to make it really clear straight off the bat that denial isn't inherently bad. Our minds need this adjustment period. Denial is not only an attempt to pretend that the loss of our old selves doesn't exist and that the diagnosis doesn't exist, but it also allows us to try and absorb and understand what's happening, which is necessary before we're actually able to move forward. Denial is a stage where we're reflecting on the experiences that we've had and the ones that we may not be able to have again because of our diagnosis. We spend time wondering what it's going to be like when we move forward with our lives. What aspects are we going to be able to do? Are we going to be able to be spontaneous like that we used to be able to? Or are we going to have to plan things? There's so much information to explore and a lot of painful imagery to process as we process our new diagnosis and the new life. And the denial actually tries to slow this process down, and it takes us through one step at a time rather than risking the potential of feeling everything too quickly and all at once. Instead of thinking of this as a stage of denial, I'd really like you to think of it as a stage of a waiting phase. The phase where you're not ready to shout from the rooftops about your diagnosis, and you might not even be ready to make lifestyle changes yet. Maybe like cutting out foods that cause inflammation or telling your family about your diagnosis. This is the phase where you're wrapping your head around it all, the phase where you are just feeling it all out. You're dipping your toes into the new normal and thinking about what your new reality is going to be looking like. I think that we all need a healthy dose of this stage in order not to rush into making changes. Ones that where you can be falsely positive or falsely negative about it. Letting your brain feel what it needs to is so important. I call it having the feels. But when denial begins to manifest into skipping your medication, hurting your body with our diets or lack of sleep, or not even making crucial appointments, it becomes a really big issue at this stage and one that really does need to be addressed. Stage 2, anger. Look, it's really common to be experiencing anger after you get the news and you're being so shocked at your diagnosis. Trying to adjust to a new reality, you're going to most likely feel a lot of emotional discomfort. There's so much to process. The anger, sometimes it feels like it's an easy emotional outlet. Anger sometimes feels like it's the answer because it's less vulnerable emotion. It's more socially accepted than admitting that you're sad, depressed, or even scared for that fact. Anger allows us to express the emotion with less fear of being judged or rejected. But a lot of the time, this can leave you feeling really isolated. Others may perceive that you are really unapproachable. We may even be projecting this anger onto other people that we love subconsciously. It's in these moments with our diagnosis that we could really benefit from the comfort, the connection, and the reassurance from our family and friends, not the isolation that can come with it. Try your very best to be really authentic and really vulnerable in the feelings that you have, the emotions that you express, rather than reverting to anger, because anger is not going to be your friend as you move through this. There is nothing wrong with feeling like you're going to cry or being sad or scared or any of those about your diagnosis. The people that you love will understand, even if you don't think that they will. Stage number 3 is the bargaining stage. This stage you will be feeling less hopeless and finding yourself bargaining with the universe or a higher power that you believe in. I don't know, it could be God, it could be the universe, it could be, and it could be in any number of things. But the thinking patterns such as these, if you make this a mixed diagnosis, I promise I'm going to take better care of my health. Or, and have you ever thought about this one, if you make this diagnosis miraculously disappear, I promise that I'm going to notice more of the little things and I'll never take my life for granted again. Well, these are some of the things that you can start to do. This is also the stage where you might also start questioning your choices and the actions that you may believe that actually led up to this illness. You can start to feel guilty and remorseful. Stage number 4 is depression. This is when our minds really start to feel a lot calmer. We've really stopped denying our diagnosis and stopped being overwhelmed with anger. We've stopped trying to bargain with the universe. And this is when you start to slowly have a look at the reality of your present situation and get a lot more clarity on it. As our panic and anger subsides and the emotional fog starts to lift a little bit, the lost feelings are more present and more unavoidable. In these moments, we tend to be pulling inwards as the sadness grows. You might find yourself really isolating yourself, being less social, reaching out to friends and family less, especially about what we are going through. It's this withdrawal that we have. It's a coping mechanism that we use. This is really, really tough, and at this stage, it's really important to try and just let people in on this stage and talk about your diagnosis. Stage number 5 is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean to say that the pain and the weight of your situation is any less or it's going to go away. But it does mean that you're no longer resisting the reality of your situation and you're no longer trying to bargain with the universe. You're no longer pretending that this diagnosis isn't present. You no longer feel that deep anger or depression. And truthfully, I think that the jump from stage 4 to 5 is a little aggressive, and there's a lot of ups and downs that you go through before that actual acceptance. So as you're beginning to go through this acceptance journey and dealing with the grief process, these are some of the tips that I used for when I was doing it. I kept a journal, I talked to a therapist, I talked to my family and friends. I tried to find somebody who I could talk to who really understood that was a third party. I let myself really have the feelings, really do the feels, and I learnt to meditate in some form just to be able to calm my brain. Now, I don't want you to have to go through this alone, and it takes a really long time to be able to see the results when you're doing that. And I really wish that there had have been somebody there that really had been through it like I was going through it when I was there. Look, you might be diagnosed just recently, or it might have been a while ago, but you do know that you want to take some control of your life back. Well, then I'm your girl to do it. If you want to know how I can help you do these things, comment down below. I'm here for you. Honestly, you don't have to do this alone. It's not something that's easy to do, and I really wish that I had have had somebody like me there to be able to help myself as well when I was moving through it. So much love, light and laughter to you all. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you found this video helpful and you really liked it, give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe and leave me a comment. I'll see you in the next video.